These sections I will show you the real examples of statistical analysis plan. I have 4 materials that I will upload it to the class, and you will get these are all the Microsoft Word files. The first material I like to show you is an example of a mock manuscript and a mock abstract and a mock manuscript, but here it's contain all. So this is the template for a mock manuscript. So usually we have a title page starting with the title, author. I do with Dr. Simalak for this. Like this, affiliations, corresponding authors, only one page here, followed by the abstract. So this is the mock abstract we pasted here, half a page. In the mock abstract we have the background, about 3 lines, the objective, if you like to add, the methods, results. You see the results is just like that. Among a total of these nurses, how many percent were this, and they describe the characteristics and the way to present the findings, like the odds ratio equal to what, the 95% confidence interval from what to what, and the p-values here. Okay. And the conclusions. So this is the mock abstract pasted in, embedded in the mock manuscript. And then the first sections of the full text is the introductions. I put it like the bullet points to as an example that you can write a subheading to guide you or to remind you what to do. And if you have a literature review, you add part in here, you can know what is the purpose for these sections. All right. So we have half a page, or could be expanded to 1 pages for the introductions, followed by the material and method starting from the study design. Okay. The detail you can look at the real data, the real file. Study outcome, which is very important. Statistical analysis. The sample size is before that. Usually it's after the design, because it will involve how many participants will be enrolled, and then justify the sample size calculations. Statistical method usually containing like the method for describing the characteristics of the samples, right? And then method to answer the primary research question. And then some parts that decorate this is about software, level of significance, or ethics. Okay, this is some example that you can follow. It will be best if you prepare the mock manuscript according to the target journal you're going to submit the manuscript after finished. The result sections is just like that. The first sections of the result sections is about the describe the overall design, and usually contain a diagram. In randomized clinical trial, this diagram called consort diagram. Consort stand for consolidations of reporting trial. So it's really give a good grasp on the overview of the research, that how many sample, then after that what left, just like drop out or lost to follow up or excluded, then the sample size for the analysis. It's really good. So you can have this one in your mock manuscript as well. The demographic characteristics. So you can have a subheading for each subsections of the results, but each section usually start from the narrative form. The first sentence of the narrative part usually followed by the reference of table or figure, then followed by this. Okay, you highlight that in sentences, not replicate all in the table, just some. And then the real table. So there are some skill that you need to learn how to draw the table effectively using Microsoft Word that quite advanced. Just like that, every number we don't know for now, just put some characters there, you know. For each of these, even for example, we dealing with the continuous like age, we prepare in our plan, like we will categorize in 5 groups, end up with analyze as the continuous outcome like this, mean and standard deviation, also range, minimum and maximum, to allow audience to compare if the mean or the if sometimes it's not the range, the median here, it will more meaningful about if the distributions of the data is skewed or more or less symmetry. So it's really lead to justifications about what you will handle for the summary of the data with these distributions. Also like that, get a group, categorical group. So it's really need to plan, and if we plan like this, in the case record form, we will have all this there. That means the data being collected have a way to go in the report. Okay, all right, in the format that we can analyze as well. So it's really help in designing the CRF as well. Okay, so the rate of like that means we answer the primary research question with this, and then explore some subgroup, for example. So it's really depend on our purpose. And after that, we investigate the factors associated with the outcome. The style remain the same. The narrative first, the first sentence end up with the reference table, which is here, and give details of the tables there. Some tables, it is best to present as the graph to easily get the informations like by visualizations. So also again, it depends on your purpose. After result sections, that means we finish all both the narratives and the dummy table and figures already. As if we will finish the study, we just fill in the real figures here. Then we follow that by put the discussion sections in the mock manuscript, and some subheadings to remind us what to do, like explain the findings in the first section, explain and compare what you found with the previous literature, why it's differ, why it's higher or lower, your strength of the study or limitation, tackle with the bias, the conclusions, the recommendations, acknowledgement, and all. So if you have a good plan, that means you have a target journal to submit your manuscript at the end. This format will need to change accordingly. So that's the first the first materials that I usually recommend all of my team, and if I do it myself, I will arrange for this as the first step in whatever circumstances. I mean, if even I don't have the data, I will start with this before I proceed to the proposal. But if I have already the data, I also start with this first before I spend all my efforts to do all things here. So it will not put effort with wastefully. Okay, this is the first material. My second material is the an example of a protocol, a proposal. So here I use the hip fracture patients registry proposal. First, I start with the protocol synopsis. Okay, just expand from the abstract. So this one contains similar to the abstract, but without the results and conclusions. I put all things here. A summary of the proposal called protocol synopsis, and then start with introduction. Just like that. I forgot to mention about this, that every pages it's really need to have a version and the date, because we will submit this for many purposes, especially the ethics committee or IRB to approve before conduct the research, and afterward we will need to change, to revise the protocol for sure. Then the version will represent what revisions that we made and in what date. Okay. So this is an example of the protocol that you can see that there are long sections and really depend on the format required by the sponsor, by the granting agencies that you're going to submit the protocol for financial support. But essentially we have sections related to what I have mentioned. All statistical analysis plan is there, sample size, statistical analysis according to the design, well detailed design, data management and statistical methods like this, plan method of statistical analysis like that. Okay, and then followed by the appendix as I mentioned. So it's depend on the sponsor again. I add one example to my talk. It is an example of the full study report, or FSR. In some cases, a research required to have not only the manuscript but the full study report, especially the trial being funded by some agency. And one full report have more than one manuscript. So again, we can prepare in advance like this material. You see the abstract is like that without the number yet at the beginning. So that you can circulate this to your team, and if they agree with this plan, go ahead, everybody happy. After that page, we have the table of contents. All here need to be automatically prepared. Don't do manually. It will have a burden in the future. Followed by the list of tables. All dummy tables, you see, it's expanded much more than the manuscript. List of figure. And then all other parts just copy from the protocol. Like introduction, study objectives, methods, from the protocol. This is also a good summary of the design, visit and assessment schedule. What visit of the participants, we do what, and correspond to the case record form at the appendix as well. Okay, so we have details similar to the protocol, but we add the results sections here, just like a mock report. So we have the narrative forms again. We have the graph, the consort diagram, the tables, a lot more tables. You see. So this is an example of the plan or the mock full study report. And after we have this agreed upon by all members of the study, we then proceed to compare the fourth materials, which is the analysis script. You see, all the commands here is an example of Stata. It's a software for data analysis. It's a command for that software. And you can see here, this is a remark about table 1, baseline demographic, and item 1 is about age. And for age, I group according to what I planned in that table 1. And then I put the command for that. It's just like this. So that means from the mock report, we can prepare a script files containing the commands to get the results from the data set. Now, without the data set, how can you know that this is the variable name and to handle this? My approach is I simulate the data to get the data set exactly the same as the case record forms that I prepare and listed in the appendix of the protocol. So in my practice, I usually use my software, which I will distribute it to you, to generate the case record forms, and then we get the data structure already. Then I simulate the data for this purpose. The purpose of preparing the script here is we call the Stata do file, which is the commands for the analysis. So that's all. Up to here, that means we have all the essential materials for that research. If we have, for example, the protocol, full study report, like I have just mentioned, the command files, that after we finish data collections and data management, we can run these files and get the results with this remark. Then it will allow us to get a full study report a few weeks or even days after finished database course to get the full study report with this plan. And the manuscript will be well shortened to get the final manuscript after the study is finished with this. Otherwise, it will take a very long time to get the report, long time to get the manuscript. Sometimes some study take years. So let's try to follow this way of approach. It is really true that well planned is half done. But for research, it's more than half have been already done. Good luck.